Aren't you a cutie?
Estoy loco. Estoy loco. La, 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 ca, 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 la.
Собственно, награда «Савиньон Блайнд». Данный сорт выведен из конца 18 столетия в долине Луары, региона Франции.
This is Figaro, our clinic cat, and we're going to see if he would survive in a quiet place.
Hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to share a heartwarming story with you titled, The Secret Cat Lover, a tale of my mother and our unexpected furry guest. If you enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Of course, if it's not your style, feel free to skip it, no hard feelings. Now, let's begin the story. For as long as I can remember, my mother had one rule that seemed carved in stone. No cats in this house. She would say it with the kind of firmness that sounded final, like a judge delivering a sentence. I never understood her reasoning. Sometimes she would claim cats were messy, sometimes that they were too independent, and other times she would argue that she simply didn't like animals staring at her while she was eating. To her, cats were mysterious creatures with fluffy tails, sharp claws, and an alarming habit of ignoring humans unless food was involved. So, for years, I resigned myself to the idea that I would never hear the comforting sound of purring inside our home. But deep inside, I always dreamed of having a little companion to curl up with at night or chase toy mice across the living room. I imagined the joy of having soft paws tiptoeing around the house and bright, curious eyes watching me do my homework. One day, fate decided to test my mother's so-called firm rule. A small, scrappy kitten showed up outside our house, crying in the tiniest, most pitiful meows I had ever heard. It had big round eyes and a fluffy little body that made it look like a cotton ball with legs. Naturally, I couldn't resist. I picked it up, held it close, and in that moment I knew there was no turning back. With courage fueled by cuteness, I walked into the house and announced, "Mom, this is our cat now." Her eyes widened. She opened her mouth, ready to deliver her famous, "No cats in this house" speech. But then the kitten let out a weak little squeak and blinked at her with its enormous eyes. Something magical happened. She didn't finish the sentence. She just sighed, muttered, "Fine, but you're taking care of it," and walked away. I thought I had won the battle. Little did I know, she was about to become the fiercest cat caretaker in the universe. At first, I believed I would be the kitten's favorite human. I fed it, cleaned its tiny litter box, and played with it for hours. But slowly, things began to change. My mother, who once claimed she didn't like cats, started to check on the kitten while I was at school. At first, it was small things, making sure it had water, giving it a little extra food, or gently shooing it off the couch. But then the transformation escalated. I came home one afternoon and found my mother sitting on the floor, dangling a string for the kitten to chase. She looked up at me, embarrassed, and said, "Oh, I was just testing its reflexes." Another day, I caught her talking to the cat in a soft voice, asking, "Are you hungry, little one?" as though she expected it to answer. Soon, The kitten started following her everywhere. It sat beside her while she cooked, it curled up near her feet while she watched TV, and it even sneaked into her room at night. One evening, I walked in to say good night and discovered my mother tucking the cat into a blanket as though it were a child. When I teased her about it, she waved me off and said, "It was cold. Don't let it catch a chill." The biggest shock came during grocery shopping. My mother, the woman who swore cats were unnecessary, suddenly added cat food, cat treats, and even a tiny toy mouse to the shopping cart. "It needs a balanced diet," she explained seriously, as if she had become the cat's personal nutritionist. She even researched online about the healthiest cat snacks, the right type of litter, and how to keep a cat's coat shiny. The final confirmation of her transformation came when she proudly announced, "I think the kitten likes me more than you." And, judging by the way the kitten purred loudly every time she held it, she might have been right. It didn't take long before the entire household realized who the real boss was, and it wasn't my mom or me. It was the cat. My mother, who once bragged about being strict, now willingly obeyed the cat's every whim. If the cat meowed, she rushed to see what it wanted. If it stretched on the sofa, she made space for it. If it scratched at the door at 2 a.m., she got up to let it out. One afternoon, I asked her jokingly, "Mom, what happened to no cats in this house?" She gave me a stern look and replied, "That was before I met this one. This one is special." It became clear to me that my mother had not only accepted the cat, but had secretly fallen in love with it. She began calling it my baby, and showed it off to relatives as though she had raised a genius child. When relatives came over, instead of offering them tea, she proudly said, "Look how smart our cat is. It knows when it's dinner time." The funniest part was that my mother didn't even realize how far she had gone. She denied being a cat person, but her actions betrayed her. She would spend more time grooming the cat's fur than brushing her own hair. She even argued with me over whether the cat preferred chicken or fish. And when the cat sneezed once, she nearly called the vet in panic. In the end, the house that once had a strict "no cats allowed" policy became a kingdom ruled by a tiny, fluffy monarch. And the most loyal subject in that kingdom was none other than my mother, the same woman who once swore she didn't like cats. The story of my mother's transformation from a strict "no cats allowed" rule to becoming the most devoted cat caretaker mirrors how people often resist change until they experience it firsthand. In modern life, we frequently build walls around ourselves with firm beliefs, assumptions, or fears about things we claim not to like, whether it's a new technology, a new colleague, or even a lifestyle change. However, once we allow ourselves to experience something with an open heart, we might discover unexpected joy, just as my mother did with the kitten. The lesson here is that flexibility is one of the greatest strengths in today's fast-changing world. Instead of rejecting something unfamiliar, we should give it a chance and evaluate it based on experience rather than prejudice. This attitude not only broadens our horizons, but can also bring surprising happiness and growth. Just like my mother found love and companionship in the very creature she once dismissed, we too can uncover meaningful connections and opportunities when we step outside of our comfort zones. In a world where change is constant, embracing curiosity and adaptability is no longer optional. It's the key to living a richer, more fulfilling life.